Okay guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be taking the supercharger off and we're going to be completely rebuilding this supercharger from the ground up. We're going to be replacing every gasket, all the oil, and doing everything we need to and making sure this supercharger is fully functional and not damaged in any sort of way before I put it back onto the car. And if it is damaged, I'm probably going to either have to source a new one or I'm going to have to get this one refurbished, because there's a lot of issues that can happen on these superchargers, especially when they've been neglected. And I'll be explaining that to you once we get it off. Now, when I purchased this car, as I said to you, the last time I was told this supercharger was serviced. I can tell you now it's complete crap. This has never been touched, because down here, you wouldn't have this oil leaking, whether it's coming through the gasket. Also, none of the clips that connect on round here have ever been changed either. Now them, you wouldn't be able to reuse them after. I know some people say yes you can, but people just wouldn't do that. They never do, because they don't give you them clips in the supercharger service kit, even when you buy one with new oil or anything. They give you Jubilee clips, so that's how I know this has never been taken off, never been changed. So the last owner was lied to when they said it was meant to have been done. Now, to gain access to the supercharger is very simple. You've got this long bolt here. This is the longest one on the supercharger that goes all the way through the supercharger and then onto the block of the engine to hold it on. You've also got this bolt right here, which holds a dipstick onto the supercharger. You've got two bolts up here, and you've also got one down here as well. Now, to gain access to all of them, it's very simple. I think, if I'm not mistaken, these are 13mm bolts, and that's what we're going to be using to take it off. We've also got to just remove the alternator malware for the alternator. You can leave it hanging. You don't have to completely take it all off completely. Just leave it hanging in a section where it'll be safe to do so. And that's about it. So you're going to be seeing me remove everything, and then we'll get the supercharger off. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is remove this 10mm bolt here and take these two out, because you have to take them all out, and then we can swing the alternator out of the way, because that's the first thing we want to get out of the way. Then you could just leave that hanging. So those were a 10mm to remove the alternator bolts. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the oil dipstick tube out the way. We're just going to have to pull that out, and I'll show you the bolts to get to that. And these ones up here are 13mm, so you just want to take that out, just like that. Make sure not to lose it. Then you've got another one just down here behind the wiring, which is crewed up with oil, which that'll be from your crankshaft position sensor. So do make sure to just maneuver it out the way just like that. Now we're going to have to slacken off this bolt down here. So this is a 16, so I'm just going to slacken it off. You can probably see there my arm going in to bring the bolt. It's a very long bolt, but it needs to come away from the supercharger. And it does. So now you can see that's completely out the way. So now we'll try and hit all these bolts with our 13mm. And now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to release this coolant pipe from up here and drop that, and then we're going to release this pipe as well. And these are all 10mm. And we want that one out the way as well. Make sure to keep them separate, because as you can see there, they're two different sizes. This one is for the bottom here, and this one is for the top. Now what we're going to have to do is remove all the throttle body off and everything. We're going to have to break these clips off here to release it. If you see where my hand's going in, this is where I need to break these clips off, because this is where they end up sealing down to, just like that. That one's off. Take off all the tubing at the top here. All these clips we will not be reusing anyway, so I don't have to worry about that. You just need to move all your intake hoses off and get the supercharger out. Just like that, that's the plastic take duct out. There's another one just located here behind the throttle body as well, which you need to remove, and that takes off all of this. You do have these two clips which you need to remove as well. These are all the clips we're not going to be reusing. You might be able to just see me removing all these up here. And that's now off. Do remember, if you're going to change your boot, this piece needs to come out with it. So make sure to take that out. And you'll see all the coolant coming out from the last flange as we pull on the supercharger to get it out. It's going to come with a coolant pipe flange. This is perfectly normal. And there is a small hose at the back there that you've got to release to be able to clear it. So there's one just over the back here, which I'll show you once we get this out, how to get to that. Now I believe our supercharger is ready to come out. Just need a few more tugs and it seems like it's released. Just need to try and get it out properly. And you can see there, all the coolant coming out and all our supercharger is now out of there. So if you look closely in here, you'll be able to see this is the other pipe that goes on to the supercharger. Now to get that back on, it's probably going to be easier to spray some kind of silicone and then attach the hose back on. This, you can see how badly corroded this is. This is where the water pump inlet sits in there from the actual water pump itself. You do really need to change them and the seals at the same time. So do make sure to get them. But like I said, getting the supercharger out isn't hard at all. It just takes, obviously, a lot of fiddling about. Bearing in mind, it's never been removed, so it's going to be more difficult than usual. And that's how I knew it's never been changed. This is one of the reasons why I have took it off, because there was no way I was going to risk driving this car without all this being changed. You have got another intake hose here, which, you know, to be honest, you don't have to remove. It's completely up to you, but I'm going to be removing it. I'm going to be pulling off the last clip up here because I want them all removed, because we do have new ones anyway. So I'm just going to prise that off. You'll probably be able to see me doing that, which is right here in the corner. Just like that. And that one's now off. Now behind the back, we do have a 30mm bracket. And that's the 30mm bolt that come out from underneath there, just underneath this intake. So there was another bolt behind there as well, which holds the frame to it. Now this should come out, which is right here. And now it's finally out. It took its time to get out, but geez, it is out now, finally, after all that. Do not lose them, because that's what locks your hoses back in. You can see here, we've got the two hoses, don't lose them. Now this boot here needs to come off, because we don't need that. It's gonna be going in the bin. Then we've also got our bypass valve. Now, while I'm here, I am gonna be taking this out, purely because these are a known failure point on these. And look at where this is located. The last thing you wanna be doing is trying to get back there to remove it, so we're gonna remove it now. So these are 10mm bolts. And that's the bypass valve out. And you can see there, I'm not too keen on this anyway, on these ones. So I'm gonna be upgrading that to a modified one. You're gonna be seeing me installing that. Not many people have done this upgrade yet, because this upgrade hasn't been out long, but there is a new upgrade for this which gives a lot more power and gives a stronger shut to gain more boost. And there is only 3 bolts for the bypass valve. So bear that in mind, there are 3 10mm. So now the supercharger's off. Now what we can go ahead and do is start servicing it. So we will start tearing it down, servicing the whole supercharger and rebuilding it. And you guys will see everything that I'm gonna replace while we're doing that. So if you'll see right here, I've took out the crankshaft position sensor because they give you a new seal in the rebuild kit for these as well, because this is a common problem that they leak. They pass the seal and then start leaking, which is what causes all the oil down here and to leak down towards the sump. We have got a new one. I've already took it out. It's only a 10mm bolt. You just want to change the seal on it. I've already took the old seal off, which was bad, in a bad way. And again, this is how I know nobody's done the supercharger, because you wouldn't leave this, because again, it comes with the seal to replace it, because it's very, very important. So I've just took that off ready to install the new seal, and we can put it back on after we do that. So do make sure to replace that. Do not let that go, because this is your oil drippage all coming down the block, which then ends up going into your sump. Make sure to change that seal. So the next one I'm going to take out ready is this water pump flange right here, because it's badly corroded. I'm not going to be reusing that. It's a 10mm again. Just take the bolts out. You might have to knock it out. You can see all the electrolyte on the bolts. We're just going to try and rip it out. Just like that. You can see there. We'll have to clean up all the area as well. You can see how badly worn that is. Again, that's not been replaced, which it should have been. And this is what I mean. This is how you knew supercharger wasn't serviced. And this is one of the reasons why, like I said, I did get it cheap, because the guy didn't believe the guy who sold it to him, saying it was done, and it wasn't done. It was never done, because they don't give you all this same crap to use. They give you all new stuff to use. So you wouldn't go and put on all this old stuff when they give you the new stuff. It doesn't make sense. Look at that, how bad that seal is, you know? That ain't gonna be sealing nothing. It's gonna be leaking coolant down the block as well. So if this seal is actually leaking, that's never good for our engine, because as the supercharger's boosting, that's putting more boost into the engine, which is causing it to run hotter. With this leaking, that means you could end up with a head gasket failure, which in turn can end up destroying your engine. This is why it's so important. I'm tearing all this down now before I even think of putting this on the road, because there ain't no way I was gonna be driving it like this with everything leaking. Yeah, if I'm honest with you, I don't understand the Mini community. It's like they will say, oh, rebuild kit's expensive, or this or that, or they don't have a lift, or this and that. But you know, there's many people that do this on the floor on their garage or at home, and then they'll moan that they can't afford this part, they can't afford that part. The overhaul kit's a bit expensive. It's like £150. £150 is nothing when you compare it to BMW and other car brands. £150 is nothing. It's like I get all these people that I always think to myself, when I bought this car, why did it not already have the 17% pulley on it? Like, it doesn't make sense. Most Minis these days have them. Why wouldn't this one have it? Like, are people really that skimping out? Like, that mod's been around for ages and nobody's thought to bung that on. Doesn't make sense. And I know people are gonna say, oh, they either don't know how to do it. Well, why would you own a car like this? This is why these cars end up like they do, in bad condition, because people buy them that don't understand them, and they rust up, you know, and nobody knows how to maintain them, look after them, wash them down. They just use them until they basically fall apart and have to be restored. But yeah, that's another thing, like the 17% chargeable. If that was on a BM or a Porsche, people would have done that a long time ago. But on Mini, people act like that's the most expensive thing on the car, which it's not. You know, with me, I go full in on these cars to overhaul them, and I think this is very cheap. For the price I overhauled this, I couldn't even overhaul any of my BMs, or not even my Porsche for that price, if I'm honest with you. To overhaul this car and put all brand new stuff on it, it hasn't cost me more than, I don't know, £700–800. It's not a lot when you consider to overhaul a BM or something, the water pumps alone, the electric water pumps are like £500, just the water pump and the thermostat. That's about everything else. And then the people moan about Mini being £800 to overhaul every single thing on the engine to make it reliable. I don't know, man. But everyone has a different opinion on things. Everyone's got different amounts of money, I suppose. But I don't understand why these people own a Mini and they still can't afford to run it properly. So there you have it, guys. That is the supercharger now removed. On the next video, you'll be seeing me rebuild the supercharger. Supercharger's now off this car. We've still got a lot more to do. I've got so many other upgrades to put on this car. And I did say to you, I'm not in a rush to put this back together. I am taking my time with it purely because I need to, because I want this car perfect. And I know if I rush it, it's not gonna come out perfect. And I want every single thing done. We are not missing anything that needs to be done on this car, and I mean nothing. Purely because I don't want to come back down here, because as many of you guys know, this is the front end service mode. This is something you do when you're going to do the big service, and now it's been completed. Once this is done, we need to focus underneath the car, the rear subframe and everything else. So I don't want to have to come back down here, and that's why I'm making sure everything here is solid for at least another 100,000 miles. But thank you very much for watching, guys. It's BMW Dr. Dean, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. On the next video, we will be rebuilding the supercharger. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.